Coming up, out of this world.
The diamond ring!
Tens of millions of people across America getting a chance to witness history, a total solar eclipse.
Like exciting, happy, like my heart beating is fast.
I am so happy you guys got to experience this. This is so neat.
We'll take a look at this magical cosmic event. Plus, who got the best shot of it all, that spectacular show in the sky? We've got details for you. Then earthquake science, what you need to know. Also had the story behind the baby gorilla's move from Texas to Ohio. And inspiring kids, these students finding a unique way to give back, donating their leftover lunches.
And I think that it's really important that wherever we can, that we're like helping out.
This is NBC Nightly News, Kids Edition.
Welcome back to Nightly News Kids Edition. I'm Lester Holt. It's great to be with you guys. We've got a terrific lineup ahead, including a visit to this special rehab center helping animals in need. We can't wait to bring you this story a bit later on. Plus, we'll put you to the test in this week's pop quiz. But let's begin with one of the stories making news this week, and everyone's talking about it, the total solar eclipse. A lot of schools closed or let students out early across the country for the total solar eclipse. The moon coming between the Earth and Sun, casting a path of total darkness extending diagonally across the eastern half of the country from Texas to Maine. This cosmic show in the sky brought some who watched to tears, others to laughter and joy. I watched it all from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway as the country was swept up in a dark moment that we could all celebrate together. It didn't matter where you were. The reactions were the same.
The diamond ring!
Joy, awe, and wonder.
It's a big thing, and it doesn't happen that often either.
A shared experience for millions of kids and grown-ups this week who had a front row seat to history on the horizon.
Just seeing how it got dark, that was an experience that, it's like unforgettable.
I'm glad to be a part of something like this.
People flocked to the path of totality, those places that fell completely beneath the shadow, stretching across 15 states.
It's literally been moving. It's getting so close. I can't take my eyes off. Awesome.
Our NBC News teams were spread out as the moon's shadow moved from the southwest to the northeast. Our pal Al Roker was in Dallas, Texas.
There it goes. Yeah. Woo! Oh. Yeah. There are the beads. There are the beads. We saw, oh, look at this. Look at this. Whoa. Yeah. Oh, look at that. We've got our glasses off right now, Lester, looking at the umbra, and it is just amazing.
And with Al, lots of kids who were there to see history in the making.
Is this exciting?
Yes, this is so incredible!
It's amazing. You guys excited?
Yes, I'm so excited.
Was it like anything you expected?
I've never experienced anything like this.
Nothing. In your entire life.
No.
In your whole long entire life.
In my whole life,
Oh my gosh.
And in Maine,
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Kate Snow, surrounded by thousands.
I've done this once before and I got emotional then and I feel myself getting emotional now. It's just something about it that is so incredibly special. I think it's maybe the commonality that we're all experiencing one thing at the same exact time.
For some, it was about checking something off that bucket list.
I'm from East Africa and I couldn't believe what I just seen.
For others, it marked a new beginning. Hundreds of couples exchanged vows in Russellville, Arkansas, including Michelle and Randy Weller.
We will always remember our wedding day
can we
because of
forget
this
that?
day.
And despite concerns about the cloudy forecast, the views did not disappoint.
You can see the bottom corner coming out.
I think it's coming out right now.
There you go, right there on the right.
Yep, here it comes.
Pure magic, uniting all of us who pause for a few minutes and simply looked up.
What was the emotion you guys experienced?
It was breathtaking. It was breathtaking.
I was at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in Indiana with my pal Tom Costello and more than 50,000 other Eclipse chasers.
It's just sliding away. You know, Tom, you and I cover a lot of difficult things to report sometimes, but this is magical.
And as the sky quickly darkened,
I think we're in totality.
we took off our special glasses.
Like exciting, happy, like my heart beating is fast.
I am so happy you guys got to experience this. This is so neat.
A special and powerful moment that connected all of us.
My mom always promised me a trip to the moon, so this is as close as we get.
She's taking you there.
Yeah.
What's your mom's name?
Ann Lakin. All the kids call her Nani.
When did you lose her?
2 years December. And, 1969, watching the first moon landing together. She made it an event that we would never forget. And this is her.
Well, she's with you today.
Thank you.
Listen, I'm caught up in the emotion too. It's you don't know what to expect. You go into this thinking, well, it's just gonna be nighttime for a few minutes. Yeah, kinda, but not really. This is something I've never quite seen. Nature is getting a standing ovation.
Truly amazing. It was so fun to be among all those folks watching this incredible moment. And speaking of the total solar eclipse, it's of course our picture of the week, naturally. And there's one young woman whose photo of the eclipse has gone viral. And she's not a professional photographer. We get details from our friend Liz Kreutz.
It's hard to say who shot it best. So many angles, so many perspectives, so many people capturing this historic moment. Photographers, some with iPhones, others with professional long lenses, spread out along the path of totality to capture the magic of the solar eclipse.
Oh, wow.
One of the most breathtaking frames, this one of a plane on the edge of the sun's glow. The mesmerizing moment taken by 25-year-old Kendall Rust, an amateur photographer from Memphis who traveled to Jonesboro, Arkansas, never expecting to get the shot of a lifetime.
When I got it, I'm like, that's it, I'm done. I've taken everything I need to take. This is the one.
Her image going viral.
I've had comments from all the way from France to the UK. I had no idea it was going to reach this amount of people.
The photo, just one example of the beauty of this natural wonder and the shared experience of looking up, even from the sky. And space, that's the moon's shadow over North America.
How cool is it to know that you're there capturing the same eclipse as so many thousands of other people?
It's amazing. Just to be a part of that experience has been really incredible.
One eclipse, millions of unique perspectives, an extraordinary astronomical event lasting moments, but forever captured in these images.
All right, Liz, thanks very much. Meantime, in other news, some people in New Jersey and the New York City metropolitan area are still talking about the earthquake that rattled the Garden State last week. On Friday, a 4.8 magnitude earthquake hit New Jersey and was felt several hundred miles away. It was the strongest one in New Jersey in nearly 250 years. Thankfully, no serious damage or injuries have been reported. Geologists say this region is generally considered a passive margin, meaning there's no active earthquake fault. And it got us to thinking, just what is the science behind an earthquake? Our friend Dylan Dreyer looked into it and explains. And kids, you may want to grab a parent or a grown-up to watch with you in case you have questions.
An earthquake is basically a very intense shaking of the Earth's surface.
The surface of the Earth is a little bit like a rubber band. You can stretch it and stretch it, but at some point, there will be too much stress and it will break.
To understand why earthquakes happen, you must first take a look at the Earth's makeup.
The Earth is a little bit like an egg in the sense that it has layers. An egg has a shell and a white part and a yolk, and the Earth has a crust, and inside it 2 other layers called the mantle and the core, and that crust is broken up into a number of big pieces, kind of like a jigsaw puzzle. And those pieces, which are called plates, move around really slowly, one past another.
These plates are constantly moving, but we only feel them when an earthquake occurs. Why? Well, it has a lot to do with the edges of these jigsaw puzzle pieces, or plates.
At the edges where they're touching, they're sometimes stuck together, and stress builds up until a point where it breaks, and that's where you get an earthquake, because there's movement on what's called a fault, a big crack in the ground.
So an earthquake occurs when two plates of earth suddenly slip past one another, causing the ground to shake.
That earthquake releases a lot of energy that travels through the crust as seismic waves that make the shaking that we feel in an earthquake. Kind of like when you throw a pebble into a lake and you see the ripples moving out. And so then when they reach us at the surface of the earth, they start to shake the ground.
Experts say earthquakes happen all the time, but the vast majority of them are so small we don't actually feel them.
Magnitude is the most common measure of an earthquake's size.
The intensity of the shaking that we feel where we are during that earthquake depends on many things: how far away the earthquake was, what kind of soil is in the ground below you, what kind of building you might be in. So that's why it may feel stronger or less strong for different people.
Earthquakes can occur anywhere, including here in the United States. They're not uncommon in places like Alaska, Washington State, Oregon, and California.
When you have two plates coming together, there are often many faults in that region. And California is a great example, where we have on the western side the Pacific plate and on the eastern side the North American plate. And there are a number of active faults in the region that passes through California.
It's common for aftershocks, usually smaller quakes, to occur for days, weeks, and even months after the main earthquake. It's important to study the history of earthquakes. They can provide scientists with clues into where the next major earthquake might be. We know this can sound scary, but there are some things you and your family can do to help protect yourselves in the event of an earthquake.
One important thing that you can do is to get underneath a sturdy piece of furniture if you start to feel shaking. Hold on to it and cover your head. And that is called drop, cover, and hold on.
You should also get down low if you're outside. But first, remember to try to move away from any buildings to an open area that's not near any structures, trees, or utility poles, and stay down low until the shaking stops.
All right, Dylan, thanks so much. What a great explanation that was. All right, time for our pop quiz now. This week, some presidential trivia. The question: which president is in the Wrestling Hall of Fame? A, Bill Clinton, B, Theodore Roosevelt, or C, Abraham Lincoln? Let me give you a few seconds to think about it. Okay, time's up. The answer is C, Abraham Lincoln. That's right, the 16th president of the United States, Abraham Lincoln, was an accomplished wrestler when he was young and nearly won all his matches. In 1992, he was officially recognized by the National Wrestling Hall of Fame as an outstanding American in the sport. All right, let's head to Ohio now. Say hello to baby Jamila. A 3-month-old baby gorilla met her new foster family this week at Cleveland's Metro Park Zoo. The baby gorilla was born back in January at the Fort Worth Zoo in Texas, but her mother never bonded with her. After a couple of more attempts at training females to care for the baby, the zoo made the decision to transfer Jamila to Cleveland Metro Park Zoo. Zookeepers say her new foster mom picked her up and immediately embraced her, so it's looking good so far. By the way, did you know that a group of gorillas is called a troop? We're wishing Jamila and the entire troop all the best. Now to a story that caught our eye. There's one rehabilitation center in New York State that is helping some animals get the special care they need. Our friend Ava Maldonado has details.
Say hello to Cinnamon, a wild eastern cottontail rabbit who was rescued by Cottontail Wildlife Rehab.
Our goal is to rescue and rehabilitate injured and orphaned New York State wildlife. So we take care of animals anywhere from squirrels, cottontails,
to foxes and some birds. So some animals can be released in as little as a week. That's usually the shortest amount of time it takes. And other animals might take months to release back into the wild. So it all just depends on what their specific needs are.
Potato is another orphaned wild eastern cottontail rabbit, joining more than 100 others being cared for at this rehab center.
A lot of them don't like to drink milk from the bottle. They have a really hard time doing that, but he was so funny. He was like a champion of drinking his bottle. He would just drink it so incredibly fast. It was amazing.
So it was no surprise that Potato grew into a big rabbit very quickly.
Come on, you can do it.
Potato and Cinnamon were both released back into the wild last fall. And did you know a baby rabbit is called a kit or a kitten? Meantime, sisters Starla and Twyla were kittens when they first arrived. As the only survivors from their nest, they were placed into a neonatal enclosure.
We were able to give them medicine, formula, raise them up, and they got nice and big and strong and were able to go out. I think just a few weeks later, they were able to be released back into the wild.
Go with your buddy. You're beautiful. Go ahead.
Rosie was a bit older when she came in.
Rosie was hit by a car. So she came into us, she was actually completely paralyzed. And we, surprisingly enough, do get quite a few paralyzed rabbits into our rehab. And we actually have a really good rate of survival for them. They do heal, and a lot of them do get to go back out into the wild. She took a little over 4 months to recover, but eventually she did regain full movement and she was able to be released.
And animal care experts say there's an important distinction kids should know about wild and domesticated rabbits.
Wild rabbits definitely do not make good pets. They don't like being handled. They are very afraid of people, and that's in their nature. Domesticated rabbits, there's a misconception that they're really easy animals and that they belong in cages and they don't need a lot of attention. It's actually the opposite. They're a lot like a dog or cat, in that they need daily exercise, attention. They really don't do well in cages. They need a lot of space. They need fresh food every day, and they need a lot of love and care. They are so smart and so intelligent. We have rabbits here that are domestic that can solve puzzles.
If you happen to spot a rabbit who might need some extra help, there are some do's and don'ts.
Kids are great stewards of nature. And a lot of times the first people that will find these animals are children that are outside, in their yards and gardens. And so what we always say to parents and children is, if you see animals outside and you're not sure if they need help, to go and get an adult. And the last thing you should do is pick them up and touch them, especially if you are a child. You want to be safe because some wildlife can bite, or you can inadvertently injure them by handling them.
Some important advice coming from a caring place, helping animals in need.
So on the days that we take them out and we release them, it's such an amazing thing to take part in, because you see it in their eyes and in the way they hold their bodies that they're so excited to see the sky again. They're so excited to be outside again. And they almost immediately look up and they jump out and take off. It feels like you've done something really great when you've been able to help an animal and you can see it through to completion.
Finally, in our Inspiring Kids series, some students at one school in Colorado are paying it forward, turning leftovers into a meal donation drive. We get details from our friend Erin McLaughlin.
At the Fountain Valley School in Colorado Springs, students are finding a unique way to give back, donating their leftover lunches.
We have a dining hall here on campus where the students we get our meals from, and sometimes they have leftover food.
We probably need a small bag for the veggies.
So after lunch ends on each Thursday, the students go up to the dining hall and we get plastic bags and we package the food up. And then we weigh it. We record whether it has any specific allergy things, like if it has meat or if it's gluten-free. And then we put them in trays. We weigh how much food we took. And then Ms. Llewellyn, who's the faculty sponsor of the program, drives it to an organization called Connections for Life.
Connections for Life is a local food pantry primarily run by a team of volunteers. The donations help feed those who are giving back to the community.
They serve about 30,000 people all across southern Colorado. They host a food pantry every Thursday. And so the food that we donate actually doesn't go to the food pantry, it goes to the volunteers that are running it.
Every week we donate around 30 to 50 pounds. We've been doing it for every week since the start of the school year.
Yeah, that's the meat sauce. Perfect.
Students have been donating meals to the food pantry since 2017.
We need all hands on deck to be able to get this food out. Last year, we provided more than 200,000 pounds of food to our community, and I'd rather have people stocking shelves than I would back cooking for the volunteers. This has impacted us so much because what they do is they bring the food in. Most of it is still warm. Anything we get, we can just send a volunteer at a time back and get them fed.
The meal donations also help reduce food waste.
Just from an environmental perspective, food production takes a lot of resources and energy. And so just saving food from going to the trash and delivering it to those who need it is just another way for us to decrease our environmental footprints.
Lending a helping hand has taught these students some important life lessons.
Going to this school and just living my life, I've had a lot of opportunities and a lot of privileges. There are a lot of people who don't have those same opportunities. And I think that it's really important that wherever we can, that we're helping out.
There's so many problems in the world that it seems like you can't really do much. So for me, this is just a very actionable step that I can just take each week. It's pretty simple, low time commitment, but it does make a huge difference. And just when food could be going into the trash or it could be going into the hands of people who need it most.
Also, I feel very fortunate to have this dining hall where I can always go to if I need some food. And so by bringing that food to people who help serve people who don't have that food that's readily available, it means a lot to help.
Small steps with a big impact for this Colorado Springs community.
For Fountain Valley School, a kid to actually start this program, and it's kept running all these years, and the other ones have picked up on it. It is phenomenal. We are just so pleased that they can keep that momentum going, because when you connect to your community, then you have a sense of family and a sense of belonging, and a sense that you're making a difference, and you know that your hard work is doing something wonderful for somebody else.
FBS Food Rescue.
Erin, thank you for bringing us that story. And kids, keep up the great work. Well, that's going to do it for us. Parents, just a reminder, if your child has a question about any topic in the news, email a video to us at nightlykids@nbcuni.com, and we'll try to answer them in an upcoming episode. You can also follow us on Instagram @nightlykids. Thanks for watching, everyone. Remember to take care of yourself and each other. So long.